Hi and welcome back to my channel. I'm Simon and today I am back with the artist formerly known as my mother, Louise Savage Muses, and she's going to be joining me for something we've never done together before.
No.
But it's to do with one of our favourite things to do together, and that is reading the Women's Prize for Fiction Longlist. Since 2015, when I used to blog, that was when I first started trying to predict.
Right.
And then I think it was 2018 that we started reading them together.
Okay.
I think we read the shortlist together in 2018, and since 2019 we've done that.
Feels about right.
Yeah. Also, I'm not great filming in this direction. I'm not
Always
used
had
to
a
it.
right kerfuffle.
But somebody didn't want to be in the shadow, and I knew that you would all complain if my guest was in the shadow, whereas if half my face is in the shadow, it's fine.
I didn't mind.
Did you not mind?
I didn't mind at all.
Did you not mind? Are you sure?
Yes, but you were worried about the shadow.
Let's be real. Anyway, I've picked 16 books. Well, technically 17, because there's one that I really want to be on the shortlist, but I don't think is long enough. As we go, there may be some discussion points, because you were saying you've never done a guessing video because you're... Well, you explain, because
I feel like I don't read contemporary fiction all the time, and one of the things I like about the Women's Prize Longlist is that maybe it's a bit lazy of me, but you're good at drawing books to my attention, obviously. But also the Women's Prize Longlist always throws up lots of books that I wouldn't have encountered or thought to read probably. So I tend to rely on that a bit. So actually it's a bit, can I use the expression arse about face?
Oh, well, you can on my channel. I don't want to say that on yours, but there we go. We've had this before.
But that's the only way I can think of explaining it. Sorry, apologies, viewers.
Last time she came
potty mouth.
Last time she came on, what was it you were talking about? Sex of all kinds and all sorts. Honestly, I don't know what happens when she comes on here.
You've made far too much of that.
I haven't.
Keeps going on about it. Anyway.
This is already fun.
So that's really the reason that I don't think I've read many books this year that are eligible.
When you're going, I guess, I don't do it that often until it gets to this crunch point, as we'll discuss shortly, but I don't go around in the bookshop necessarily thinking, oh, that could be eligible for next year. But I think I would like to do that more. Ooh. As I said to Mum, I had a list of books that I'd read that were eligible last year, a whopping 8. And then I went through all my shelves and took down all the books that were eligible that I had in the house, 72. Going forward, I would like to try and be a bit better at sort of trying to pick books, but there's so many that are potentially
which is great,
eligible.
isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a brilliant thing. But I wanted to know, before I start sharing my guesses, do you have any guesses?
Well, I don't know whether you'd call them guesses. I might have a wish list.
Same thing, I think.
Just a few things. I'm really enjoying finding out about Catherine Chidgey's writing. So, Pet or The Axeman's Carnival, are they both
that's not
eligible?
eligible for this. Axeman's next year. Pet's eligible for this
year.
year.
I'd be thrilled if Pet was on there. That would really make me happy. Also, Charlotte Wood, I really enjoyed some of her books, and I haven't read Stoneyard Devotional yet, but I'm really keen to get to it, and I'd be really pleased if that was on there. I think I could perhaps, I wonder if Jennie Godfrey's list of suspicious things might make it, which I have read and enjoyed. And I mean, I'd love Caris Davies to be on there with Clear, but I don't know whether it's long enough.
Well, that's funny enough. That's going to be one of the books that we talk about first, because that's one of my questions. But I thought it'd be nice to hear some of your guesses. And I should say, the list that I'd made, I almost didn't make this video because there was so much choice and it was actually making me stress. And it's the first year it's made me stress, but because it's such a year of riches, it's a really good dichotomy. Is it a dichotomy? Dilemma. It's a good dilemma to be in. I love the word dichotomy, so I just throw it in any time. Did you sleep well? Was it a dichotomy? What I ended up doing was I whittled them down from 72. Also, I'm aware I'm only including books that I own, because there are just so many other books that are out there that I don't have. And I also really like being wrong, like finding out what books are on there that I've never heard of, hopefully. So I just went through, whittled them down, and then I had a pile of 16 that were like, if I was trying to be academic about it, they would be the books that I would think. And then I had 16 of the books that I just wanted to be on it. And then I merged 8 out of each. Okay. So basically I'm covering all of my bases. I tried to make it fun, basically, because I was getting so cross about it. I was like, let's do this. So this isn't going to count as one of my official guesses, but it is a book that Mum mentioned, and that is Clear by Caris Davies. And she is one of my absolute favourite authors. I read The Redemption of Galen Pike, her second short story collection, when I was judging Fiction Uncovered. This is, I think, her best novel yet.
Because I haven't read it yet. I've got it, but not read it.
It's set on a remote Scottish island. It's about two very different people kind of ending up having to get along with each other and what's going on away from the island, but also what's going on. And incredible. I will say one of my favourite books of the year so far, easily. But I think it might be too short. And there was another book that was too short that I would like to see on the list potentially, and that's Samantha Harvey's new book, Orbital, because I love her writing. So that was also a way of cheating from the off, because I'm adding a 17th choice and an 18th. It's got
orbitals down there. Can you just show everybody the cover though, because it keeps catching my eye. Isn't that beautiful?
It is.
Yeah, stunning.
Anyway, so
Thank you for blotting out.
Official guesses, and I've done it in alphabetical order. Louise, keep your eyes away from just
Sorry.
there. Thank you.
I can't see
so
anyway
the
from here. I'm
first
shorter
book
than you.
is one of the 8 that I read last year, and I think is the only one that I've included, which some people will be really shocked at, because I've got a favourite author, Sipam Zhang, who I haven't included, and that's because I think it's more Booker than Women's Prize.
Right.
I said this last year about Ayobami Adebayo's A Spell of Good Things, and I was correct. So I'm hoping that'll happen this year. But I'd be delighted if it was on the long list. Anyway, the book that I read last year, that actually I wish I'd read earlier this year, because it would be one of my favourite books of this year, is Vanessa Chan's The Storm We Made. This is just a phenomenal book set in the 1930s and 40s in Malaysia, when the Japanese occupation is happening and has happened. But we start in 1940 when we meet Cecily, and her son is one of several boys who have gone missing in her village, and she believes it's because of something she did 10 years ago when the Japanese occupation began. And we follow her story then, as we follow the story of what's happened to her son and also some of her other children going forward, and it is absolutely amazing.
I've seen and heard a lot about this one. I really, really want to read it. I'm hoping it will be one of them for that reason alone.
Tracy Chevalier raved about it, and I trust what she says, because she only quotes on 3 books a year max. It's like a rule that she has. Number 2, Mum will be thrilled to see that I've picked this. It's Pet. I haven't read it, but I just have a feeling about this, because from what I've gathered from you, it's got quite a propulsive thriller-like element. It's quite dark. You loved this. Why? Elevator pitch it.
I loved it because it was set in a school and it was really realistic. I loved the characters in it. I loved the portrayal of the teacher and the tingly, sinistery...
Oh, I like the term tingly sinistry. I don't
gloss around it.
I'm not sure what that is.
You knew there was something, but you couldn't quite put your finger on it.
Oh.
Yeah, and also it's about grief, which is a subject that fascinates me.
So yeah, I'm very, very excited for this. Also, I think this paperback edition is absolutely striking.
It's
I think
way
the black
better
and the red
than
is just
the
gorgeous.
version I've got.
So that's number 2. Number 3, and you own this book, is Bellies.
Oh yes.
By Nicola Dinan, and this is about 2, I think, initially friends who then fall in love and have a relationship, and one of them transitions, and we follow how that affects their relationship. But also I think it takes us around the world quite a bit, and I just thought that sounded really interesting, very topical. And so yeah, I thought this could be another one that makes lists. I'm doing elevator pitches. I'm being speedy.
Very
I never
good.
do this.
Yeah, no, but it's nice. I'm enjoying it, and it's like, I need to get that off the shelf and read it now.
So now we have a shiny, because I got this in Toppings in Ely, and they put covers on their hardbacks. This is Mongr by Hanako Footman.
Oh, I haven't come across that one.
This is from a small indie press, Footnote, who are publishing some amazing things. I almost chose Chlorine by Jade Song, which is about girls who try and physically turn themselves into mermaids. Like, it sounds quite a thing. And this is about 3 different people who are all... Now, where are they set? So you've got Mai, who loses her Japanese mother age 6, and she's in Surrey. Then you've got Yuki, who's living in the Japanese countryside, and Haruka, who's attempting to navigate Tokyo's nightlife. And how are they all interlinked? And I think this sounds really,
That's such a
really,
simple
really
but clever
good.
idea.
Yeah, it's great. And I just thought, I'm excited for this one, but I would also not be surprised to see Chlorine, which is just there.
Do you
on the
know,
list
sorry,
too.
can I just say something about the plastic binding? I know it's got nothing to do with the Women's Prize, but that that plastic covering just so reminds me of the joy of taking a library book home when I was a child.
But also, do you know what? If I could buy some of these, I don't like taking a book around with me with the dust jacket on.
No,
but if it had that on it, I'd be all right.
Yeah.
So, although actually I'd be worried about bashing. But anyway, moving on. So we have that. My fifth pick is Emily Howe's The Painter's Daughters.
Ooh.
And this is a historical novel about the daughters of Gainsborough.
Oh.
And I think in particular one of them was a bit out there.
Oh.
And so we follow their story. And this again is another book that Tracy Chevalier has given a quote to.
That's where I've come across it.
And I'm hearing lots of buzz about this. And I thought historical fiction, there's always a few, well,
it looks like, is it out this month? From
It is, it's out in February. Oh, I should have said the eligibility is April 1st to March 30th or 31st, depending how many days on there are in March, and I don't know.
31.
My brain after the 24th, which is my birthday.
It's your birth month, I was going to say.
Literally, yeah, but after my birthday, I'm like, who cares about the rest of March? Anyway, so that really intrigues me, especially because there's a museum on the outskirts of Liverpool, which is just brimming with Gainsboroughs. And so we've been.
Yes.
Sudley House?
Yes, Sudley.
And so I really, really want to get to this one as well. And I do think there was a couple of historical novels that I almost put on. Loot by Tanya James. You read her book, The Tusk That Did the Damage.
Oh yeah, that was great.
She's got a new novel out.
It's really unusual.
Which has got a tiger on the cover and looks really... She seems to like a book with an animal on the cover. Yeah. Anyway, we have another historical novel, which is A Sign of Her Own by Sarah Marsh.
And this
is, again, based on true story, or based on historical fact is probably a better way of putting it. And this is about a woman who is deaf, and her name is Ellen Lark, and Alexander Graham Bell, who created the telephone, I think stole some of the thing and also used her, really misused her in a way of creating the telephone to do with her hearing. And I love the fact that the M papers
that's
are
gorgeous.
the British Sign Language alphabet.
Wow, and the cover now makes sense.
And I felt like a book that's kind of writing maybe the historical wrongs of a woman would be a really good women's prize kind of book.
Redressing the balance.
Yes, and I think, I'm really, really excited for this one as well. I think
it's got
debut.
Really nice font.
Oh, also, it's just... Oh, it has, let's show everyone the font, because me and Mum have both become quite obsessed
that's really
by
nice.
font.
I would enjoy the process of reading that.
As we both get a little bit older.
Priscilla Morris likes it as well.
She did, and she was up for it last year. This is something that I'm enjoying more with books. I don't know if you find this too. If they've got like a really short, very short one-line plot summary, so here it says, to tell her story she must find her own language, I find that more intriguing than whatever's going to be written down there. So anyway, so that's number 6, I think. Then O, after M, even though I've not done one for every letter of the alphabet. We've seen what it is now, Louise.
Sorry,
this is
I can't help it.
A History of Burning by Janica Oza. And this had loads and loads of buzz when it came out. And then sort of, I didn't hear much about it, but I was reminded of it the other day because it was one of Sarah Jessica Parker's favourite books of last year. And this, I believe, is set in India 1898. Now instantly I'm like, I want to read it.
I love books set in India.
And
what is it about India?
We both like books set in Nigeria as well, which is interesting. But this is about the East Africa Railway. And again, a book based on historical
in India
fact. I think it's to do with I don't like reading the blurbs.
Oh, okay. Because so it's Indians in East Africa.
But I think he starts in India and then goes to East Africa.
Yeah, like Gandhi did.
It sounds really odd to say, and I hate this word. It's about the vibe a book gives. This feels very women's prize. Right. I don't know how scientific
what do you mean by
response.
That? I don't know. What does he mean by that? I want to know.
I don't know what I mean by that. I guess it's like you were saying, what do I mean?
Is it because it's about the diaspora or?
No, I think it feels like one of those books that's both literary but also really accessible and readable, but also quite different. Yeah. Okay. I just can't.
Okay, all right.
But you know what I mean? It's like, but no, you've got a valid point. Like, why, when I've not read it, do I think...
Yeah, I'm fascinated by that.
Especially over books that I have read, that I've... Yeah, anyway, so there we go. there's that. This may surprise you that I think this will be on the list.
Okay.
Also, this author has won the prize before. Could we have a second year where an author wins for the second time? I don't know, could that be a new thing now? This is the second most recommended to me book of last year, despite the fact I have struggled with this author before.
Right.
And it's Tom Lake by Anne Patchett.
Okay, I see why you thought I'd be surprised.
Well, I'm really intrigued. I don't like fiction on audio, but Meryl Streep reads this, which really tempts me. Also, the finished cover is beautiful. There we go. Some people said it's quite melancholy. Other people have said it's really joyful.
Oh,
so that's an interesting
Marmite
case. But also, I think people, although actually, no, one of my patrons did say that they thought it was one of her worst books. Now, that could be really interesting because I haven't really got on with her, including Bel Canto, which won previously.
Well, neither of us have. It's really strange that it's an author that just seems to not do it for either of us.
Your Mum, My Gran, absolutely loved her work.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think it's about a family who are going through quite difficult things, and we find out more about it. This is why elevator pitches are really hard, because I could read you the entire blurb, but we would be here until possibly the long list for 2025. So but Tom Lake is one that I think is getting loads of buzz. There were lots of other previous winners or eligible authors that I didn't include. Linda Grant, I've got a pile. Diana Evans, Valerie Martin, Rose Tremaine, Laurie Moore's a big name that I haven't included. Claire Fuller,
Deborah Levy.
Also Australian wrote Kate Grenville, Louise Doughty, Deborah Levy. Yeah, there's so many big names. I haven't included Yellowface either, but that's because I didn't really like it. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's on the list.
No.
Oh, no more needed to be said there, Louise. And so Tom Lake, I think that could be on there. Then we have an author who I read her debut last year, and I'm a bit annoyed with myself because I read it really quickly.
Right.
And I really loved it, but I wish I'd given it a bit more time. So I wanted to read this book in December. You'll see for why in a second. And that is Karen Powell. And this is 15 Wild Decembers. And I wanted to read it in December.
I really want to read
this. It's the story of Emily Bronte told over 15 Wild Decembers. And I just think it sounds brilliant. I think it's going to have a real northern grit to it, which I love. And I'm really hoping this is there. It was shortlisted for the Nero Book Awards recently.
Do you know what? You're making me so excited for the actual list. This is really... And also, I don't know about you, but I'm really worried now because I want to read all of these. So... So what happens if none of them are on the list and then I've got this?
Well, also, I could jinx this for all these poor authors. I'm so sorry if I do.
You could. It's not got a very good strike rate.
Do you know what the most I've ever guessed is 7.
Right.
Ever in my life. 7. Anyway, so we have 15 more Decembers. Then we have some New Zealand fiction, as we have Greta and Valdin by Rebecca K. Riley. And this is set in New Zealand.
Brussels sprouts?
No, I think they're limes.
Limes. Oh, yeah. They're not Brussels. I need my glasses. Sorry.
Anyway.
I did think it was a bit odd.
Goes with your top, though.
It does, beautifully.
It does. And also with Milado there, the statue. Anyway, this is Greta and Valdin, and this is about siblings. Both of them are queer, and it looks at what their life is like as queer youths in New Zealand, which is a progressive place but also equally isn't, and also looks at, I think, their race and their cultural heritage.
Oh, wow, that's a lot in one book.
Yeah, but apparently it's absolutely brilliant. It is a little bit acne, so Mum might struggle with this one. There may be sex of all kinds in here, Louise. So I think maybe it should come with a warning. A Louise Savage warning. You're never going to live it down.
No.
I was telling the boys in West Kirby Bookshop yesterday that you couldn't touch those books because they had sex in of all kinds. So there we go. And I have to say, the publisher, Hutchinson and Hyman, are publishing some absolute bangers this year. There could have been like 3 or 4 of theirs I could have picked. It was really, really tough. And again, just shows what a spoil of riches there are out there, because also you've got all of these other books like The Lagos Wife, that's one of Hutchinson. Then The Tower, which is about Mary Queen of Scots. You like a bit of Mary Queen of Scots.
I do love a bit of Mary Queen of Scots.
So,
I'm looking forward to Young Queens for that reason.
That's not on this list, so that's on the non-fiction.
No, that's on the
and actually, we haven't talked about this. So the non-fiction, I'm not reading the long list this year. I'm going to read the short list. And you were saying time dependent.
Yeah, I'm hoping I'll read the long list for fiction, but because I'm reading the long list for non-fiction, there are only so many hours in a day.
Even though you are
even
retired.
though
I knew what you were going to say.
I'm hoping that I'll get to the fiction long list, but if I don't, I think we'll just do a flip.
Swap, which will be something different and
Yeah.
slightly sad, but also kind of exciting. It's a weird thing. Anyway, next up we have more historical fiction, and I think this is a book that a lot of people are saying could already possibly win, and it's an author who has won before, and that's Zadie Smith's The Fraud.
Yes.
And I actually started this last year and read the first, I think, 10 chapters and was really enjoying it, but for some reason put it down. I was getting on quite well, but also I love Victorian fiction. And so, yeah, I thought this was interesting as I read it. So I think that'll be on the list. Then, I don't know what number we're on now, got really, really lost. We have Joelle Taylor's
12, I think.
The Alphabet. The Night Alphabet by Joelle Taylor. This is out this month. And this is about a woman who goes to a tattooist and her whole body is covered in tattoos and she's only really got space for a couple more. And as she's having this tattoo done, she starts to tell the story of her other tattoos, and some of them are from quite recent history, some of them are going back decades, but then also she's had some of them in the future. So what's going on? And it sounds really different. Also, Joelle Taylor is a poet, and I love poets when they write novels.
Yes.
Or I love novels written by poets. That's probably the best way of putting it. So there we have that one. Very excited for that. Another author that I always say is one of my favourite authors, and I've only read one of her books, but it's because I love the book so much, and it was another Women's Prize shortlistee, and this is Letters Descend by Jennie Ward.
Yes.
I've heard this is brimming with magical realism, and that's all I need to know.
Well, and it's written by Jasmine.
And it's written, the cover looks like that with the bees on, which is beautiful. And this, I think, sounds incredible. Also quite odd saying this next to you. The first weapon I ever held was my mother's hand. But instantly that line gives me a bit of a tingle, and I really want to read it.
Clever.
Also nice
well, she doesn't
font.
waste a word, does she?
Nice font.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for this one. Then I love books where it's about where cultures come together, where they clash, where they merge, and where they're sort of opposing magnets. I love that sort of mixture. And Ghost Girl Banana by Wiz Wharton sounds like one of those kind of books. I think it's about a woman who discovers a bit of a mystery around her grandmother. And so it's one of those books that goes between 1966 and 1997.
Why does that cover remind me of Fire Rush?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's the colours.
Could be.
But yeah, I think this is a book that I know this is a book that I meant to read all last year. You know,
Right.
do you have those where you're like,
all the
year,
time,
I'm going to read that, I'm going to
might
read
get
that.
around to them 6 years later and absolutely love them and think, why didn't I read
font.
it before? Yeah, that's good font. Nice spacing.
Not that that's what judges should be looking into, but I do think fonts are really, really important. And again, that whole thing of cultures coming together, clashing, that feels very Women's Prizey to me.
Because it's a woman's place within that, I think.
Well, also, I think what I like is when it's the person who's in the mix of all of that, not only is it how they're finding their place just within all of that, but how they find their different sides of themselves within that.
Yes,
because it's the perceptions of the people have of them as well.
Yeah.
So, I'm very keen for this one. Penultimately, I've got through it quite quick.
It's a big word.
Thank you, Mother. Next is a book that we were both told only yesterday by the lads in West Coast Bookshop Will Make Us Cry. It was their January book of the month. It is The House of Broken Bricks by Fiona Williams, and this is about a family who are going through grief, and I was going to say, you like that because it's grief.
No, I do.
But you
do
find grief really interesting.
Yeah, I do.
And this is one that I've just heard so many good things about, and I always think if the lads at West Kirby really like a book, it's going to be really good. And I think this could easily be on there. I'm aware that there aren't that many small presses in my mix, so hopefully I'm about to be very wrong when we open the box of books tomorrow.
What's the last one?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was just teasing everyone that we'd be doing an unboxing together, but don't you worry, she wants to know what that's one is. I think you can probably guess what the last one is, because you've mentioned it. And we're at W.
Charlotte Wood.
Yes, Stone Yard Devotional by Charlotte Wood, who is an author I absolutely love. She is an Australian powerhouse, and I don't think she's as known here as she really, really should be. So that's another reason that I really want this to be on there. I've started this, and it is, and I was saying this to you, so different from her other books, but they're all really different, and I think that's a real talent if you're an author who every single book is different, but you hook a reader in. This is about a woman who has gone to a nunnery in the middle of nowhere to sort of deal with grief. There's obviously a theme in my selection. It's obviously hereditary. But there's
What, grief?
A love of grief. No, not a love of it. And it's a really complex emotion, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And I think
because it can be applied to all sorts of things, not just death.
Yeah, because you can grieve like if you stop seeing a friend or a friendship ends, that's a grief. Or anyway. But yeah, so she's gone to deal with sort of grief there. But it's so interesting how this character's kind of judging the nuns, but they're also kind of judging her. Oh. And it's just really nicely done. Yeah. And already, thankfully I've got a proof that I've done this too. I've dog-eared quite a few pages, and I'm only like 30 pages in, because there'll be a paragraph, it's quite vignette-y, and there'll just be a paragraph, and I'm like, that is perfect writing. You've just, she's on a par with Caris Davies for me.
Right, yes.
In terms of authors that I absolutely love. So yeah.
She doesn't waste a word.
She doesn't. So there we go. That's my guesses. What did you think of that list, Louise?
Well, I just want to go and read all of them, with the possible exception of the Anne Patchett. But I might do that out of curiosity, because surely somewhere along the line, I mean, I've seen so much excitement around that. Yeah. So I'm not going to cut my nose off to spite my face. I've made that mistake before. Well,
I think if that is on the long list, I'll listen to the audiobook, even though I always tell people, please don't recommend me or fiction on audio, because I never listen to it. But I think Meryl Streep might get me through it. And in hindsight, I wish I'd listened to The Dutch House, because Tom Hanks did that one.
Right.
She picks them. She gets good people on her audios. I'm just trying to think if there are any other books that I wanted to quickly squeeze in to mention. I'm sort of expecting like A.K. Blakemore's The Glutton, possibly Eliza Clark's Penzance, as that sort of the youth, the upcoming authors. I'd like a few of them in there. And I'd like a few second novels in there. Chrysalis by Anne Metcalfe, Jen Campbell has raved about, and that's never told from the perspective of the main character. It's all perspectives of her. Oh, and I think that sounds quite women's pricey. Yeah. Soldier Sailor, I've heard loads of people say that'll be on the list. And then the ones that I just want to very cheekily mention, because I loved them when I read them last year, R.C. Pam Zhang, I think she's incredible. The Sleeping Car Porter by Suzette May is an incredible Canadian historical novel. Also, I loved Family Law by Elizabeth Acevedo. It was her first novel for adults.
I've read Poet X, and I think it was her that wrote that, wasn't it?
This is about a woman
and I really enjoyed that.
Each member of her family has sort of some magical ability, and she can predict death, and one day she predicts her own. Oh. And that's,
that's chilling.
That is chilling. And also The Other Side of Mrs. Wood, which is, I think, one of the best, most rompy, brilliant historical novels that I read last year. So there were just so many. Any other cheats that I can just segue in?
It's not cheats, it's just celebrating. There's just so much, actually. You know, now you point it out.
The Middle Daughter by Chika Onigwe, that's a Nigerian
I think
novel
I just
really
need to go to bed for a month and just read.
Well, you're retired, so you can. So there we go. That is my predictions. We've got a couple of combo ones there, because if Caris Davies is eligible, we've both said that. We've said Charlotte Wood.
Yeah.
Who else did you say?
I said Jennie Godfrey.
Yeah. But now that she's retired, next year she'll be able to predict a whole 16, and I can't wait. That's going to be... Actually, I'm throwing down that challenge for next year.
Oh, my Lord.
That is a challenge. No, but it doesn't like... All it is when you go around a bookshop, I think it's quite a nice challenge, is to go, maybe. Could that be eligible next year?
I'm just too much of a whim reader.
Yes, I'm not.
I do like reading retro stuff.
I've got so ingrained in reading for events or for judging prizes or for... I've actually struggled. I've tried to read Byron this year and I've really struggled. I'm really excited that once we open the box of books, I've got a guide of what I've got to read over the next few months. Okay. So, yeah. So, follow us on our Women's Prize adventures.
Absolutely.
There will be another video of us together unboxing the Women's Prize long list. Mum is doing some sort of as-you-go
reading
blogs
along with the non-fiction list.
Yeah. And I'm going to copy that And in my reading journal videos going forward from, I'm a little bit behind, but whenever, they will be me reading the long listed books back to back. I may have read some already. I'm kind of hoping I've read 4 because I've technically got 3 weeks before I have some big trouble where I'm not going to be able to pack many books. And I really want to have got them done before.
Yeah.
I really want to get them done before the non-fiction shortlist is announced because then I want to switch to that.
Okay.
Anyway, there we go. I said this was going to be a short video.
It wasn't.
But thank you, Mum, for
No,
not
thank
heckling,
you.
actually, because I should
no,
say...
I didn't heckle.
I know, because I really avoided, and I haven't watched any other people's predictions videos. However, I did put a post on Instagram where I was like, oh, I'm trying to whittle them down from 47, and I just can't do it. And Anna, who does the videos with Eric, and I'll link Eric's channel down below, because I think theirs is coming quite soon. I said, oh, I want to get them all picked before Mum arrives. And Anna said, oh, maybe you should have your mum on to heckle. And check out their predictions, but also if you have done a predictions video, please let me know in the comments down below, because then I can go and find that video and watch it if you're not already in my watch later list. Thanks as always, Mum.
No, thank you for having me. Honestly, I've really enjoyed that.
But
I'm equally now thinking there are so many things I want to read.
There are other ones in the other piles.
I know. I might photograph them in a minute.
So that's it for this video. Mum's channel I'll link down below if you want to go and see the artist formerly known as my mother having a chat about books, wanging on as I like to call it, because that's what I do.
Musing.
Oh, yeah, you muse, I wang on. And we're going to go off to a stately home shortly.
We are excited.
So I'll see you in another video very, very soon. And as Louise does on her channel, let's say bye.